This is the Construction Leading Edge podcast from ConstructionLeadingEdge.com and ConstructionBusinessAccelerator.com, and I've got a great interview for you today. This is with Jean Ferreira. You're going to hear about how she was born in Brazil, came to the States, had a successful career with Victoria's Secret, and then she made the change and decided to found a construction company. You're also going to hear about how she went 2.5 years before getting her first project and why that was a good thing. You'll also hear about the lessons that she took from Victoria's Secret that helped her succeed as a business owner, as a female business owner in a male-dominated industry. You're also going to hear about some secrets to success that she learned that helped her to be successful as a WBE, MBE, and DBE certified business owner. She's got an amazing story, very inspiring. You're going to love this interview, but I've got a few resources I want to recommend to you before we get to the interview. Let me ask you a few questions about your bookkeeper. Does your bookkeeper run payroll for you and your entire team? Do they handle taking care of state and federal tax withholdings from those checks? Can they handle payroll by direct deposit? Do they offer time tracking services? Will they help you keep track of your licensing, education, insurance, and bonds to keep you compliant? Can they write a contract for you? Prepare a scope of work for you? Prepare a full proposal for you? Even file a notice of right to a lien for you? Will they pay your bills for you? Will they write checks? Will they send invoices for you? Are they sending you individual P&L reports for each project? Are they sending you weekly financial reports tailored to your needs? Are they giving you 24/7 access to your financials? And then, are they preparing annual end-of-year reports for you and your CPA? Well, if not, these are all very important things that every contractor needs to be doing. So if your bookkeeper's not doing this for you, or you don't have a bookkeeper, or you're trying to keep up with this stuff yourself, I'm here to tell you there's a better way, and it's the Apparatus Contractor Services team. They specialize in handling bookkeeping and back office support, taking the back office headaches away for construction businesses. So if you want to find out more about how you can get all of these services done for you without all the headache, and it's crazy economical. It is an absolute no-brainer. Go to ConstructionLeadingEdge.com/headache. There's a brief video there. You can find out some more. You'll read some testimonials from other construction business owners just like you, and you can fill out a brief form there and get in touch with the Apparatus Contractor Services team. So go to ConstructionLeadingEdge.com/headache and check out the Apparatus Contractor Services team and how they can take away your back office headaches. If you own or run a construction company, I want you to imagine this. What would it be like if you could schedule for revenue and you could drive your business instead of chasing it? What if you could design your operation so that you could stay out of cash flow crunch mode, you could make a healthy profit, pay yourself a healthy salary, and eliminate chaos in the process? What if you could have a steady source of leads so you could build the right kind of backlog without spending money on advertising? Well, I've got 2 programs I want to get in your hands for free. They're the Revenue Maximizer and the Contractor Sales Accelerator. They're worth about $4,000 combined, but right now you can get them both for free, plus a whole lot more when you claim your free 10-day trial of the Construction Business Accelerator program. You're going to get the Revenue Maximizer, the Contractor Sales Accelerator, plus a whole lot more: the Mindset Upgrade, the Leadership Masterclass, the Project Execution Formula, all of my best stuff. So if you like the podcast and you want to go to the next level and go deeper, get more practical, tactical, strategic stuff to put to work to help you eliminate chaos and maximize revenue, go get your 10-day free trial and get all of that stuff for free at ConstructionBusinessAccelerator.com. Again, ConstructionBusinessAccelerator.com. Grab your free 10-day trial of the Construction Business Accelerator. Now let's get to the interview with Miss Jean Ferreira. Enjoy. Jean Ferreira, thanks so much for being on the podcast. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well. And hope everybody else is too.
Excellent. So tell me about Well, let me ask you this. How did you get started in the construction business? That seems like a good place to start.
Well, this is a good one because everybody be shocked when I tell them how I got started, is that I was in the beauty business. I was with Victoria's Secret. I was one of their models and one of the regional managers for about 7 years. And just one day I decided I want to do something different. I'm using my talent to beautify women, and I thought about what else can I do? So I decided to get in the construction business because construction to me is about making things beautiful and making things alive to people when they see buildings and offices and different things. And so I utilized that, and I got into it and decided this is what I like, and I like what I do. And so when I got started in 2013, I decided to establish my own company. I was a top manager, top regional for Victoria's Secret, and I was always at the Galleria or either North Park. I was at high-end stores. So I'm a high-end woman, value. So I decided to get into this, and I decided to go to school, and I decided to go to UNT and study construction management. Then I went to UT Dallas and studied construction management. And from that aspect, I decided I need to be certified and licensed. Mm-hmm. So I went to the Secretary of State and filed for my license. And I was for an LLC. So I got it.
That is definitely, I could say you're the first person that I've ever talked to who has gone from being a regional manager at Victoria's Secret, maybe even any part of the Victoria's Secret organization, to starting a construction business. So tell me about, well, when I talk to construction business owners and my coaching clients, I like to find out what part of the business really they're really passionate about. Some people are passionate about design. Some people love working with customers. Other people are in it for the employees. I'm curious, what part of running a construction business and owning a construction business are you really jazzed about?
Well, I'm very adamant about what I do, how I do it, and when I do it. And I believe anything we do, let's do it right the first time. Mm-hmm. And so therefore, my philosophy is hire. Mine was about hiring people because I knew at that time we had a lot of people that were out of jobs. And I said, well, I can contribute to this and open up my own business in construction. And through that, I decided to take my own money. I took my 401k money out, and I said, I'm investing in myself. You see, you have to believe in yourself because nobody else will. Until they see that you have been established, then everybody jump on board. But to start out, it's all about you and believing in your own self to be successful. And so I started, like I said, in hard. Well, I went to the Texas workforce and I started putting in applications. I got approved with them so that they would send me all kinds of construction people. Then I got in on LinkedIn and I decided, let's try this. Now, to tell you the truth, I want everybody to know this. I didn't know the first thing on construction except through going through school. I had never done any OJT. So I had to hire good people that knew how to do the job. And
so that's a really good point. Some people think that the only way to be successful in leadership or as a business owner is to come up through the trades. What would you say how was it a benefit to you to have zero construction experience before you started your business?
It was an asset because a lot of times when we go into, just for instance, I can use sales in Victoria's Secret as the top one for them, made a lot of money. is that you go in with a mindset that you know it. You know it all. And most people do know the business in construction. But I was glad I didn't know as hands-on. Yes, I knew the books of it, how to do it and how to save money, how to make money, how to hire, how to get OSHA, how to, be safety. But to actually do the job, function of that job. And so mine was to get the right people. And doing that, it took me as a leader of my business, my own business, to make sure to empower the people that came in and said, Jean, I want to work for you. Because they already knew how to do drywall. They already knew how to pour concrete. They already knew how to do framing. They knew all of these things, but I didn't. So I only knew it on paper, never by doing it by OJT. And so I empowered the people. I said, okay, you know the job, do it. I will come and do the walkthrough and see if it's done correctly by the book. So that's how I started.
Gotcha. So you had to empower people because you couldn't. I guess you could have micromanaged people, but yeah. So when I want to get back to some lessons that you took from Victoria's Secret and applied to construction, but I want to talk about empowering people first. What does that mean to you when you say empowering people?
It means to let go and let them do their job. And that was the first thing I thought about, is that you can be a leader and you can be a manager, but let the people lead and take control of their own jobs. And so that's what I did. I empowered them, let them lead what they normally do. If they were drywallers, they knew how to do the drywall. They had to give me the numbers as to doing that particular job and how long it would take. And I believed them. And that's another thing you have to learn, trust in this business, is that I trusted my guys. And so if they told me they can have this job done in 4 days with 40-some-odd hours, I believe that. But I would always go back and calculate it. You understand? So that's my part. So by doing that, I let go and let them manage and encourage them in their job function.
Got it. I agree completely. I think empowering people is, I think a lot of the problems we're dealing with in the industry are due to a lack of empowered people. When somebody's empowered, you have fewer quality problems. You have fewer problems getting them to show up for work. They're more productive, and things work a lot better when people are empowered and trusted. I absolutely agree. What is one or two lessons that you learned in Victoria's Secret, being in that organization, which by all accounts has no connection to construction, but what's one lesson you learned in your previous world that applies to construction?
Well, in Victoria's Secrets, I was one of their top ones and still is today, is that I believe that we should always, they taught me and I taught my people, engage. Find out really what people are looking for. What is it they're really, when I go on these jobs and for job sites, I ask questions as to how do you want this job? When do you want it delivered? What paint are you using? I asked a lot of questions, and we did that with Victoria's Secret, is that we always ask our clients, what are you looking for? What do you want to change? Is this brand new? Have you ever done this before? How do you want this done? So I always use the what, how, when, and where. And I applied this to construction. And my people always came back and they brought, you see, if you build trust with your clients, that they trust you and they'll ask for more and more. And they'll ask for suggestions. I always, when I went at Victoria's Secret and I applied it over here to construction, I always asked, what else are you not asking me to do? What else? Tell it to me now so we can discuss it. Most people say, Jean, you get yourself in trouble because you talk too much. Well, I say, I don't talk enough, really. So I do actually a question.
Yeah, I love that question. What else? I teach my clients that that's a 2-word question that can make you a lot of money and can save you a lot of problems. Like, what else? What else do you want? What else can we do while we're here? What else do you really need? And I also like the idea of asking a lot of questions because in my experience, I've had a lot of customers come to me and say, I need X. Maybe it's, I need to remodel this space. I need a new building. And they don't really know what they need. They're jumping to a solution. And one of the best things you can do for them and to help yourself avoid wasting time is to ask questions. What do you really need? Why do you think you need this? Is this what you really need? What's at the bottom of this? What's the business need? What's the hope, the dream, the desire for your house? And make sure that we're headed down the right path. So yeah, great advice there. Any other lessons from being in high-end retail, Victoria's Secret, that you think apply to construction? Well, let me frame that a little bit more specifically. What about dealing with customers and selling? Any other advice that, whether it's from Victoria's Secret or not, that you think is helpful when selling to clients in construction?
Yes, that one thing that I learned, many things, but one of them was listening. We have to be listeners. And Victoria's Secret, we listen to the clients. When I'm doing construction, I'm doing job sites, so I'm going out there to talk to the owners or the project managers. I listen because there's some things they're not telling you. So by listening, I always make a little notepad and said, this they did not ask me. Why? So I go back and then I ask the questions. Because if you don't listen and you be doing all the talking, you're not hearing what they're really telling you. And in that method, I always go back and I say, well, this one you did not mention, but let me suggest something to you on this particular wall, on this particular kitchen area, this particular building that we're doing. I always said, you didn't ask, but I want to give this to you as a suggestion. We always suggested a lot in Victoria's Secret and even retail. You always suggest because the customer has not remembered. So we have to suggest it to them. And that's what I do with my building is I always suggest to the customer or the project manager. Now, and I said, this is only a suggestion from me, but if it applies, then let me know, okay? Because like I said, I'm one of those that never back down. I believe in what I do. I believe what I say, and I'm going to stand on my principles. So I always believe in listening and giving suggestions to all people. And that's why I was number one, and why we're doing great right today in this construction business.
Good advice. So let's talk about your business. What exactly do you do? I know you're into a variety of things, but tell us about what kind of work you do and where you're at.
Okay, well, the Ferreira Holding Group is a construction company. We do vertical to horizontal. I try to specialize in drywall, painting, finished carpentry. I try to do mostly concrete foundation structures, framing, and anything to do with building. That's what I try to do. And I don't do anything with the plumbing. I don't do anything with, I do mostly the things that are about building or finishing. And so this has helped me a lot because I do a lot of painting, drywall, concrete slabs, foundations. I started out with, I'm doing mostly commercial now. I used to do a lot of residential. And I was doing a lot for Grand Homes, and I did some work for K. Hananian, and I do work right now for NTTA, and I do work right now for transit. I pour concrete for them. So I have a lot of people that we deal with.
Okay. And you are, I see that you're a DBE and woman-owned. You have DBE certification, woman-owned certification, quite a few certifications. I talked to some folks who would like to get certifications and be able to take advantage of those opportunities. What's one misconception about those type of certifications that that you run into that needs to be dispelled?
Well, actually, yes, I'm certified as the MBE, WBE, ABC. I'm all of them because it helps. Actually, it helps the subcontractor. It helps the GC and all because now we are under like the government. If you want to get some credits for any of these type of jobs, and most of them out at DFW are DBEs. They want you to be disadvantaged, that the government will give them a percentage off of it, for the job that they're providing a lot of that to them. And so most companies do want us to be certified, and it's really not hard. I had to go through all of them. But what I do now, I'm a mentor. I do mentorship I have a lot of ladies that are wanting to get into the construction, and they want to know how to get in it and what can they do. And so I do like a mentorship, and I show them how to establish and get in these certifications through all these different companies.
Got it. And what's your number one piece of advice that you give to folks that you mentor? Is,
a lot of times people always ask me, how did you get all of this? How did you, and I want everybody to know is that I've only been doing this business for 5.5 years now. They say, what? Yes. But, Todd, this is what I always thought about my continual growth and progress in my business, is that I was always looking for improvement, achievement, and how to be successful at what I'm doing. And so I tell this to everybody. When you get in this, it is not easy. Actually, it's going to take some hard work to build yourself up in this business in construction, because most people have already established themselves. And by them being established, most companies are going to go ahead, corporations or GCs are going to be looking for people that have already been established. So you have to build yourself up in that way. Your character must be developed. And it's not easy. Your experience of your trials and your suffering builds your soul and your strength. And that's what it did to me. And after you get that established and people believe and you get some jobs, do the job right the first time. When I got into this and some of my companies said to me, they said, well, Jean, we've had other women. Well, you behind closed doors, you know that, so they're not going to stand it. But a lot of them got in here and could not do the job. And I said, well, I'm not like those other women. Matter of fact, I character myself as one of a kind. So I said, just give me the opportunity and I will do the job and make sure it's done right. And that one job, and my first job I ever got, I bid on the job. And I'm a statistician, so numbers I know about. And so I bid on the job, and it was Dart Transit, and I won the job doing concrete foundation. And they sent me the letter and said, you won the job, the bid. And I said, well, how did I win this? Because I'm not, all the people were bidding. And actually, my bid was the highest. It's because of what I put in my scope of work. You see, the scope of work means a lot. If they don't give it to you and you have to send it to them, yes, you need to be sure you put in the correct things for your scope of work and how you're going to do this job. And so when I did, they said, yes, you won. And I got a blanket PO from Dart, and I'm still working for them to this day.
You've obviously faced a lot of hurdles and probably hurdles that a lot of people would consider to be impossible, not having any experience in construction, moving from retail into construction, being a woman in a male-dominated industry. Where did this tenacity come from? Is it from childhood? Is it the way you were brought up? Where does this all come from?
Well, it's kind of the way I was brought up. It's my family. We're from Brazil. A lot of us. My father's Brazilian, and my mother is. Well, you probably won't put this in there, but anyway, okay. But she's an American, Black American, and so we knew in Brazil either you're rich or you're poor. There's no middle class people there. The same thing in Mexico. And so we knew we had to go to school in order to be successful or to achieve anything in life. And so my tenacity was go to school, learn. And so that's what I focused on, was always learning as much as I could about any and everything. Read. I read everything. I read every successful entrepreneur. I go back and I read all about Bill Gates. I'll go back, I read all about, the other Dodd, one that did the Apple. I go back and read how he lost so many times and how he came successful. And so through that, I learned never give up. That's what I always put in my spirit, was never give up. No matter if they told me no, I'm going to convince them to say yes. So that's how I started doing it.
That's awesome. So when you ran into hurdles, which I'm sure you ran into a lot of seemingly impossible hurdles, how did you respond when things just looked like they just weren't there, they weren't going to happen? How'd you deal with those things? What did you tell yourself? Well, how did you handle it?
Well, actually, it took me, and this is for anyone that's listening, that's thinking about trying to get into this construction business. It wasn't overnight. I really did not get any job opportunities, like I said, until about 2.5 years. But I had to continue walk the pavement. I had to continue to go out to the job sites. I had to continue to put my name out there to let people know she's interested in it, and let people, regardless, if they said no, I still would go anyway. And I would always say, well, if somebody don't, call me. If they don't show up, I will. If they're not the one doing the job right, call me. I will get it done right. And so I always prove that, because I think we have to prove ourselves. And any job or position you're in, it's always about proving who you are. Be yourself. Express yourself. Have faith in yourself, and not look for success in others. So my success was in me, what I was able to do, my ability. And believe, if they didn't believe me, that was okay. I believed in myself.
So let me get this straight. You were in business for 2.5 years before you got your first project, and you didn't quit?
Yes. And I never quit. I put in bids, but in order to bid on jobs, you got to really go out to those sites and see what is there. Like I said, ask the questions that nobody else asks. Always stick around, because something may show up or something may be said that I was always early and left late. So I did that until finally, for 2.5 years, I would go to sites, learn the business, go talk to people, put in bids, but I never got one until I finally put in the right bid with the right numbers, so you have to learn all these things. People don't understand about all these, the scope of work as to the square feet and how many milliliters, it's a lot involved. How many gallons of paint you're going to use? What is your labor going to look like? And how many people are you going to really need for this particular job? So I learned that from the schooling I had received, and then on the job training that meant I went on the job and started doing it. So that's how I was able.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, I'm a big believer in just that the key to success is decide what you want, and then if you don't quit, if you don't give up, then eventually you'll get there. What do you think about that?
That's right.
Does that sound about right to you?
I think that's a good one. I'm going to write that one down. I'm going to use it.
Yeah. I used to think that the key to success was to find the right idea, and that if something wasn't working, that just meant it wasn't meant to be. I had the wrong idea. I was the wrong guy. It was the wrong time, etc. But, there's the old saying, strike while the iron's hot. And I once heard somebody say that's wrong, that the right approach is strike until the iron gets hot. And I'm starting to think that's really the key to success, is just raw perseverance, just not quitting. And yeah. So let me ask you this: you've endured a lot of adversity. I'm guessing you've probably made one or two mistakes. What is the most educational mistake that you've made in business? And you can define educational mistake however you want to.
Okay. The educational mistake, well, it's like we go to school and college, we learn all these things by the book until you get out there and actually do it. And when I decided to go ahead and open up my own business in construction, is that you never have enough money. That's just it. You may think you can start out, $30,000, $40,000, $100,000, but it takes a lot of money to run a corporation or business. And my mistake was I didn't have enough money until I started. And like I said, it was 2.5 years before I could get any bids in and really win some of these bids, be awarded it. So my money was going down the drain because I was trying to keep my HR people. I was trying to keep, my insurance and keep all these things. Because when you have these jobs, that people must realize, some of these companies require that you have a $5 million insurance, on liability, on workman's compensation. I had to have umbrellas, and I still do. And it costs a lot of money. And so that was one of my mistakes, is not having enough money when I got started. And then when I did, I found out that in order to have these jobs, credible jobs, is that like at DFW Airport, you have to have an $8 million insurance to work out there. And most of my others that I have now are $5 million umbrellas and access. So money is the key to everything. And you start out and you believe people are going to stick with you. They're going to, oh, yeah, we're going to be right there for you. But when the going gets tough, the tough get going. And you have to stand your ground and say, I'm going to stand, or you just may as well say, give it up. But I stood. And that's when I got my first contract and said, okay, now I know how to make some money. So I started making money. But that was my mistake.
And if you could go back and do it over again, what would you do differently when you got started?
Well, I probably would make sure that I had enough money to cover everything. Either got into with some joint ventures with other companies that would allow me to work with them. Because a lot of times we try to go on our own. And I have found out in my mistake is that you can't do it alone. You're going to need joint venture people or people that already know the game, that you can get in with them and get on the tail of them until you can build your own reputation.
Got it. Good advice. Yeah, I think there's a common misconception that you've got to do it all alone. It's this hero's journey. Everybody else has to drop back. It just doesn't have to be that way. It doesn't have to be like that. Let me ask you another question. Was there a situation that you went through that seemed really bad at the time when you were in the middle of it, but now looking back at it, you realize it was actually good for you or good for your business?
Yes, I made a lot of mistakes. I want everybody to know that is that in the type of business that I'm in, construction, these jobs, it's plentiful right now. But you have to be ready to take a lot from the owners, from the project managers, the superintendents, all the way down and GCs. That you have to be ready to just go whatever comes, and never give up, because somebody is looking for somebody, and you might be the right one at that time. So I just feel like my business was always reaching out, and I never thought that I knew everything. I never thought that I was going to be the one that got the job. Now, sometime I would go in with the guys and I said, okay, I'm going to beat y'all on this one. I like competition. So I was going this, I'm going to win this one. I'm going to beat you on this one. And, a little competition don't hurt. It just make us strive to be better, And so that's what I did.
And what do you think it did for you that you went 2.5 years before you got your first contract? Do you think that if you were able to get that first contract right off the bat, would things be better or worse for you? Do you think you got some advantage by going through 2.5 years of a drought? Does that make sense?
I think that it made sense. I can say today, because where I am, that I'm glad that happened, because I was not ready. You see, because as I told you, I didn't know anything about construction as to hands-on. I knew about it through books. And so this helped me to really learn the business as to how to do it right. Listen to my subcontractors. Listen to my project managers. Listen to the superintendents and the safety guys. And this really helped me, because now I don't have a problem in safety. I don't have a problem of not fulfilling my job. Now, a lot of people don't realize that when you take these contracts on and you don't fulfill them or can't fulfill the job, you lose out, because your reputation is just low. And I'm glad that I didn't, because I had to sacrifice a lot and just sit back, learn, go to the meetings, learn, hear what was really being said. And now I've taken that tools that I learned from not being able to get a job at 2.5 years, just sit back and learn from my guys, learn from all the people that knew the job. And now I believe that I'm just number one. I believe I'm all that in a bag of chips today. Okay.
Good advice. Good advice. Here's a question for you. If a business owner were to call you up and tell you, Jean, I want to grow my business, what are the questions? Yeah, let's do that. What are the questions that you would ask them?
And I'm glad you asked that one, because a lot of people come in and they said, oh, I've been in this, I'm ready to really get to the top, and I want to, the first thing I always ask them is this. Do you give me some progress report of your business, your achievements, your improvements, and how are your people's tenure there? You see, because without those three things, you're not going to grow. And my philosophy is, first of all, improve yourself, improve your people. People skills are very important. I send all of my subcontractors, whenever they're having any type of trainings or things coming up about, safety, or I send them to them. And I don't mind paying for it, because knowledge is important. And it's focused today as to how well you're going to do that job, and safety and OSHA training. So in order to continual growth, you got to continually send your people. Your people are the main asset of your business. Besides your people, It is the owners of the business. And if you can show them improvement as to the people skills that you have and the achievements, I have a lot of achievements, and the success rate that I have customers that ask me to come back because of loyalty. Yes, they put out the numbers for everybody. Sometimes we know, and you and I know this in business, is that they'll put it out there, but they already know who they're going to get for that job. So I tell them continual growth. People, you make sure your people are trained well and good customer service. And so that is what I tell them on improvement and what they need to do and impart in their growth for their business. They think just getting in there doing the jobs, construction jobs, that is not the growth. The growth is your people.
Yeah, good advice. Great advice. 2 more questions for you. Do you have any recommendations on some resources for business or leadership or self-improvement that you would recommend? Could be a book, an author, a speaker, somebody that you follow that you've gotten a lot of value from?
Yes. Now, I follow a lot of Vince Lombardi. I like football. So, me being a woman, I tell everybody I'm a sports fan. I do. And I like a lot of Vince Lombardi because he always taught us, apply the best yourselves to the task at hand. Apply the best. Never go in there and half do a job. Do the best of everything you do, because that best will turn out good for you in the end. And so I always looked at that. And then I have one that I always look at in today, and that is Apple and Bill Gates. I look at these people because when I look at Bill Gates, his book is, he couldn't even get $10,000 loan to start out Microsoft. He went to all the banks, he went to everywhere, and they wouldn't give it to him because at that time nobody believed in Windows. Just because people don't believe in you don't mean for you to give up. Then he went to his buddies and they got the money together. So my philosophy is look at those that have failed. You see, every one of these people that are entrepreneurs and successful people are failures, because every time you fail, that's a learning curve for you to win the next time. Never take your failure as absolute. Take your failure as to a winning. And that's what Vince Lombardi did. He taught them how to win. And that's what I'm about, is winning. And another one that I always watch, and I do a lot of karate and stuff, is Bruce Lee. He was a little guy. Little. But he would always know, he would get there and he knew what to do. He always believe in yourself, express yourself. And that's what I always do. And don't look at what somebody else have done. Look at what you're going to do. Your personality. Never duplicate anybody else unless you are an original. Hello.
Yeah, I think that's great advice.
That's me.
Yeah, I think comparison, when we compare ourselves to other people, nothing good comes from it. We end up trying to look like somebody else, and that just doesn't work. I've been down that road, and that's a slippery slope. Great advice. Vince Lombardi, Bill Gates, Bruce Lee, definitely great folks to listen to. Let me switch gears a little bit. There's a lot of talk about varying topics in the construction industry, the problems, the opportunities, the what's coming, the future, etc. But what is one topic that you believe is not being talked about enough in our industry?
Well, I believe, now this is just me, so I want everybody to understand this, is that I believe building the other company, building somebody else besides yourself. You see, because I came up the hard way. And now when people come to me, I try to build them up so they don't have to cross the road I did. climb the ladder I climb. I give them good advice. I give them sound doctrine on books, just like you, books and how to get your certifications, and I show them the easy way. I had to come the hard way. But I believe in this industry, we need to help build up other companies, small companies. The big ones have established it, but the small companies are looking and trying to find a way. How did they make it? How did they get there? Nobody reaches out to help them. They have to go on their own. But I think that if we start doing this in our industry will get to the top of every company, every manufacturer. They will, and they won't be going overseas. They'll be here in Texas.
That's good advice. Yeah, to give back and help build other companies. Great advice. Well, one last thing. You've got an audience of construction business owners and leaders, executives, project managers, superintendents. If you could share one thing with them to inspire them or help them to think differently about their job, what would you say to them?
Well, what I would say to them, that's a good one, is we should always be strong, have a positive self-image, and prepare for ourselves on every job. Is that success is no accident. It's hard work, learning, studying, sacrificing. I had to sacrifice a lot. I have 2 sons that I was raising. So I had to sacrifice a lot to get to where I am today. And so in this business, we need to just be strong and have a good self-positive image of your own self and prepare yourself for your success.
Great advice. Prepare yourself for your success. Yeah, I like it. I like it. Well, Jean, this has been great, better than I could have imagined, and I appreciate you taking the time to be on here. If people want to find out more about your company and or if they want to contact you, what's the best way for them to do that?
I'm on LinkedIn. As a matter of fact, they can just go in there under Ferreira Holding Group, LLC, and they will see my name, Jean Ferreira. I'm on Facebook business as well, Ferreira Holding Group, LLC, Jean Ferreira. And they can pull me up on Google. Just type in those names that'll come up under construction and companies. And as a matter of fact, it'll pull up my email. And my email is Ferreira, Jean, 480 at gmail.com.
Perfect. And I'll have all those links and your email address in the show notes. And at the end of the podcast, I'll share the link with the listeners on where you can go to get those links and the email address. So, Jean, fantastic stuff. Thanks so much for sharing your story, your advice, and it's a pretty remarkable story. And I encourage you folks listening to reach out to Jean and ask for help. And Jean, thanks so much for taking the time to be on the podcast. It was great.
Thank you very much, and have a great day.
Well, there you go. I hope you enjoyed that interview. Make sure and reach out to Jean if you have questions. She's been gracious enough to share her contact information. I'm sure she would be glad to help you out. Before we go, I've got a couple of other resources I want to make sure and get in your hands, but I do want to read a couple of reviews. I appreciate the ratings and reviews that come in on iTunes, and I want to read a couple of them. This one is from Guitar Player 26170. And he said, Todd does a great job helping companies like ours to grow. The info he provides here is what I would expect in a paid course. If you're a company owner or leader, then every one of these podcasts will help you out. Todd also has a site that he goes into more depth with, helping construction companies. Check it out. We've implemented a lot of what we've learned here and on his group that has been helping manage and grow our company. I'll tell you a little bit more about that group in a minute. And here's another one from TWHITK, T Whitk. The podcast contains very valuable information about construction, business process, how companies and individuals can improve their current processes, mitigate risk, and increase all-around profitability. I can't believe he gives away so much info for free. Thanks, Todd. Yep, I do give away a lot of stuff for free. And speaking of free stuff, speaking of the group, I mentioned at the beginning of the podcast, you can get your hands on my Revenue Maximizer program for free. You can get your hands on the Contractor Sales Accelerator program for free when you get a free 10-day trial of my Construction Business Accelerator program over at constructionbusinessaccelerator.com. There's also an online private mastermind group of construction business owners and lots of other stuff. You can get your hands on that over at constructionbusinessaccelerator.com. And don't forget, if you want to offload your back office and bookkeeping headaches and get all of those things that I talked about at the beginning of the podcast, maybe your bookkeeper's not sending you reports, maybe you're not getting job cost reports and P&L reports for each project. If you want to get rid of your back office headaches or get better data on your financials, which is extremely important so you can actually make decisions, go to constructionleadingedge.com/headache, and you can see what the Apparatus Contractor Services team can do for you. I appreciate the ratings and reviews. If you can take a minute, if you like the podcast. If you don't like the podcast, let me know too. But if you like the podcast, leave me a rating and review. That helps get the word out there to the rest of the interwebs. And if you got any questions, as always, hit me up on email, todd@constructionleadingedge.com. Or I'll even throw this out there. If you want to call me, send me a text message, want to get on the phone, you can do that. You can contact me at 859-667-2015. That is it for this one. Have a great one. Thanks for listening. I'll talk to you next time.